everybody? Welcome to another edition of Keeping It PG. This is your boy Dione Bolding, and that's
Charlotte Shepherd, aka Shep. You know by now.
Yeah, you do. You're episode 4, and again, we're two guys from Prince George's County. We say PG County, who are giving our life story, our life journey, and what it means to live in the county, the stereotypes of Prince George's County, fitting into some of those, breaking stereotypes, but also expounding on what we believe is near and dear in our heart, our faith, our family, and how we believe God has called us to love people, all different shapes of fashion, especially in the sports world. That is where we do a lot of our ministry and working is in the collegiate and high school levels, ministering and working with coaches and athletes. But we just want to give our perspective, two dudes from PG County, and I'm basically a millennial, and Shep is at the tail end of a being millennial. So we have similar lenses, but a little different as well. And we just want to give our take of what goes on in society, in the world, in sports, and faith and family, and things of that sort. So if you're listening in, you just want to hear us give our opinion and also give you encouragement as well as you go and live your life. So this is our take from two dudes from PG County, keeping it PG. Straight up. So we're going to talk about a topic, and we're going to keep it PG. We're not going to go PG-13 rated R, because we could. We get worked up to that point. But also give our PG County perspective as coming from a predominantly black or brown county, but also affluent county. So, there's things you would not think would come your way because you might come from an area of the county where you're more affluent, but that doesn't matter because you're still black in America. So if you haven't heard, we're going to talk about, we don't know how long we're going to do it on the segment, but we want to talk about basically being a black male in 2020. And then this is a jump off point is what happened to Amir in Georgia back in February. It is May now. We're in May, but this incident, a shooting, he lost his life in February, and it came to light about 2 weeks ago. Really took steam in the last few weeks, but he essentially lost his life basically for exercising, for jogging while being black. And that's not sensationalized. That is the fact. They approached him because he was black, not for any other reason, and carrying guns. And so if you haven't seen the story, we don't want to rehash the whole thing. Go Google it. His name is Amir. It's A-H-M-A. Ahmaud or Amir? Ahmaud. So A-H-M-A-U-D, if you want to look it up. It'd probably be the top story if you look right now.
Just type in Ahmaud and the rest will come up.
Yeah. So Shep and I are going to give our take growing up, what the story resonate with us, and then our experiences growing up while black. And we'll see where we go. So, Shep, you go first. After hearing the story, seeing the story, I haven't seen the video. I tend not to like to watch videos of people losing their lives if I can't help it. But you've seen the video. Just give what you felt and saw when you watched it and saw it in the news.
I thought it was fake.
Oh, wow.
When I saw it, I'm like, nah. I'm like, this some Facebook news.
Right.
I watched the video, and it's happened so fast. And I'm like, I had to watch it back. I'm like, okay, when my man is jogging, right? First thing that alarmed me is the fact that somebody's recording. So I'm like, premeditated? This is a joke? This is silly? What is this? I had no clue about why the recording was happening, but it was. So in my mind, I'm like, is this fake? Is this staged? Is this what? Is this real? There's no audio really like that. So from the guy in the car at least. So you see it picks up where it's kind of blurry, and all of a sudden you see Ahmaud jogging down the street. There's this big white truck in the middle of the road with a guy in the bed and a guy on the driver's side. Ahmaud, like anybody else who is seeing, I don't know what's going through his mind, but if I see two people in the middle of the street with shotguns, I'm going to probably either turn around or go around. And he took the latter. He went around. And from what you can see, he goes around, but before he can reappear at the, around the hood of the truck, he's in a struggle with one of the guys. and the gun goes off, pow, one time, and then they're still struggling. He's still trying to, I mean, at this point, he's trying to take the gun from the guy, like, yo, disarm him. But they're just wrestling with it back and forth. And the second shot, pow, goes off, and they keep going. And then Amaz's trying to fight the guy at this point. And then the third shot goes off, and then you just see him stumble about 10 to 15 yards forward, and then he just falls. And then no reaction from the guys. They didn't run away. It was very, very Jim Crow. In the sense of, for those, again, if you're watching this, you don't know, just go do your research, because we can go all down. I don't want to get off topic, but it was very Jim Crow, and the people who are watching who know what I'm talking about know what I mean. It was very comfortable in that position. Back in those days, it was, lynching or killing of a black man was like walking your dog. It was like, it's another cricket on the road dead. No, it's another black man dead. No, but that's how they kind of treated it. It was no fear, like, I just killed a man. There was no, like, the guy in the camera didn't go, oh, snap. He did. It was just like they were killing a deer, and that was just my initial reaction was confusion, was like, this is still happening. And I showed my wife, and she was just thrown off as well. Just like, your first reaction isn't just like, it's just like, what? You have so many questions. Like, what are you doing? Why are you just, is this quarantine? Are you hunting? Like, what are you doing? And it just kind of like, it just makes you grab those close to you. It makes you like, all right, this is it, man. We live in a fallen world, and this is how it's going to roll. Be smart, take precautions, and we got to continue just to stand up for and fight for what we believe in. And we have to? No, but like my parents always, I love my mom and my dad, because before all this social justice stuff was a popular thing, I knew about it. And that was because my mom and my dad raised me in a home, one, to help me understand my heritage and my culture and where we come from, the struggle and the pain and the things associated with why you need to go to class and you need to excel in school, why you need to vote, why you need to carry yourself a certain way, is because there are people who died so that your little butt could be sitting in the front of a classroom with white kids, learning from a white teacher and getting A's. And it was like, oh. It seemed like I was in trouble, but it was passion. And now I get it as I'm older. Like, you need to understand why you have the freedoms you have and who paid the price for it. But I wasn't expecting to still be having this conversation when I'm 25 years old. So.
No. And this conversation last night, my wife and I were talking. Our kids went to their grandparents that live maybe a couple miles away from us in Bowie. So my wife and I were talking in bed, and like, I could feel myself getting not emotional in the sense of crying, but like really heartfelt, like heart pounding. Like, that could have been my son. Like, that could have been my brother. And my wife too. Like, because my wife is white, Caucasian, or she's actually Dutch. I always think of Austin Powers when you think of the Dutch. But she's 100% Dutch, and like, her whole world is changed by marrying me and coming and moving from New Jersey to moving into Prince George's County and coming to an all-black school or Bible college, and then teaching at predominantly black schools and marrying a black man. Neither one of us thought that was on our path to who we would marry and where we would end up. But God brought us together, and we're in love. Like, regardless, I love my wife, regardless of the color she's in. But the reality is that it's to be judged off the pigmentation of your skin, that like you said, Shep, that your life is less than, like, your life is more meaningless, is mind-boggling. And the conversation we're having it's literally maybe almost 70 years where blacks can vote, black people, African American people, how you want to call us, can vote without Jim Crow. So you had the right to vote, since, all men are created equal. Okay, sure. But as Shep was saying, Jim Crow in parts of the country didn't allow you to vote. The systems were set in place so you could not even cast your vote. Like, craziness. And all those laws were Jim Crow, and all these unwritten rules were abolished, where 60 years, bro. Like, it's not even a full generation yet where like a generation who's alive and died where that has been like the norm. We have so far to come, like so far. We're just 100 years, 1920, 1921, where women could vote. Like, what? Like, we have 100 years is not a long time. Now that I'm 30 in my 30s and I look back and see like, man, I felt like a 5-year-old 30 was going to be a long time to get to 30. But now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, that's not that long. It wasn't that long ago. So we have a long way to come. And the systems that are set in place that are the systems that you're taught and the systems that are set up against blacks and brown people are set up not necessarily by white people. I don't look at my wife and her family and say, you white people, but the systems that were set in place were so to keep them oppressed, to have somebody over them. And that mentality that carries on, that someone believes they have the right to go up to someone with a loaded gun and stop them based upon the color of their skin.
Right.
You're not even an officer. You're not even like, you don't have like police officers have a different rules and engagement and blah, blah, blah. But a citizen, like, what gives me the right to go across street to my neighbor with a gun because he's white?
Yeah, this ain't the Andy Griffin show, bro.
It's crazy. And so the same kind of thing of my parents telling us that they would do everything they can to break stereotypes, do everything you can. My mom would call people who are racist or bigots, they're just ignorant. They're ignorant. And the statement of, if you're in a room full of whatever race, put a bunch of races together, and you ask they're American, you ask them who would want to be treated like blacks are treated in society, raise your hand. I guarantee no one will raise their hand.
I seen that video.
Yeah, and that's videos in the 80s and 90s when Oprah did it with, I can't remember the lady's name, who's also talking about social justice and social reform and how you think about brown-eyed people. If you saw that video, I can't remember the lady's name. Short little white lady, petite lady. She's a firecracker.
She is. That's why
I love it. But it's the crazy that we have this. And the sad thing is that America, from a governmental, like a hierarchy governmental, will not own up to its shortcomings. It won't own up, like say, we have a racial problem in our country. We do. Not person to person so much, like not my neighbor to me and like that, but as a overarching governmental structure, we do. Which is crazy. So this morning I went for a run. I ran 2.32 miles. That's how far Amir had got from his house before he lost his life. And jogging, I just, man, it just mentally put myself there. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy.